All right, Andrew, hit us with that Sif Spoil theme song for this week.
Tom Holland does whatever Robert Downey lets him. Can he swing from a web? If not, Baby Driver will drive him around. Look out. Here comes Tom and Elsa Elgort.
Nice. Nicely done.
Very lovely.
Lots of great references in there. Yeah, we're going to be spoiling both Spider-Man Homecoming and Baby Driver. Both have some things worth talking about. We'll try not to make this episode 5 million hours long.
We could.
Easily.
There certainly is a lot to talk about, but I will say this. If you haven't seen the movie, you probably don't want to listen to this for a couple of reasons. Number one, we don't want to spoil anything for you if you're going to see it. Number two, we'll probably jump around a lot, so some of it might not make sense if you haven't actually seen the movie.
Yeah.
So, we don't attempt necessarily to stick to a linear conversation about what's going on in the movie. We're not giving you like a full plot. We just have different things we want to touch on, spoiler-wise, now that we've seen the film. So let's start with Spider-Man and then go to Baby Driver like we did in the podcast proper.
Okay.
What do we want to talk about with Spider-Man spoilers? I will say there are some twists that I did not see coming.
Really?
I did not know that she was his daughter.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved that so much.
Yeah.
I figured it out right before he was walking up to the door. He was talking to Aunt May, and I'm like, oh no, here we go. As soon as he was talking to her, I'm like, oh, here we go.
And that's exactly when you're supposed to figure it out, because it gives you that little bit of anticipation, and just like, oh my goodness, it's actually your dad.
Yeah, and I kind of, looking back, I kind of feel like I had an idea of it, because they keep talking about your wife and your kids.
Sure,
and
it's
stuff
there,
like that.
yeah.
Like hindsight's 20/20,
right?
But you didn't know.
No,
don't
I
play
didn't.
like you knew.
I
didn't know.
I thought it was great. Yeah, I loved it too, and it adds again so much depth to that character.
Yep.
I think he genuinely loves his family. Like, I don't think he's playing. Like,
that scene whenever it's Tom Holland and him in the car when he's dropping them off.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, like I was saying in the actual podcast, it's not something we've seen for the Vulture before, because, like I said, typically he's just
sadistic.
He's kind of sick.
But now he's parental sadistic.
Now he's sitting here going, I'm looking out for mine, right? Back whenever I was working as law enforcement, I don't have a heart where I want to hurt somebody. I'm a good guy. And there have been people that, you got into it, because you just mean and ugly and mostly ugly. And I'm like, no, I genuinely want to help people.
Right.
But my philosophy going in every single night was, I'm going to go home tonight. And there's not a person out there that's going to stop me from going home tonight. And if you create a situation that puts me into the position where I have to choose whether or not I'm going home tonight or going to the hospital or, the morgue, I'm going to make sure that I go home tonight. And that's kind of where the Vulture is in this. He's sitting here going, I have obligations, people that depend and rely on me.
Yeah.
And you guys are forcing my hand. And I can facilitate means of being able to, take care of mine and all this good stuff. And for the most part, he is indirectly causing people to have weapons and things of that nature, which are in fact hurting people. But he's kind of separated himself from that a little bit. He's like,
he obviously doesn't mind hurting people either.
Clearly,
yeah.
But he's gotten there from a place of nobody else is protecting the people important to me. I'm going to protect the people important to me, and I'm not just talking about family. It's clear from the beginning he's talking about the people he works with.
Yep.
We're introduced to him right at the beginning. As they're doing cleanup on the
First Avengers.
the first Avengers
This movie spans 4 Marvel movies.
Yeah, it really does. And so he's doing cleanup on the first Avengers destruction, which, by the way, I love it when these movies take you to places that most superhero movies don't. Superhero movies never talk about aftermath.
Yeah.
They never talk about cleanup. But these Marvel movies are starting to talk about that kind of stuff. And I find that really interesting. And so they use some of the alien tech and, start building weapons. And that's how, they do what they do. And he has this amazing wingsuit that he can fly and steal this stuff with.
And it's different than what it is that was in the comic books, because the flight harness that he creates in the comics is...
Or actual wings.
No, it's an actual... He uses the wings for guidance, but the actual harness is what actually gives him the ability to fly. And it's virtually sound so he can fly around. As a matter of fact, there are moments when Spider-Man, short of relying on his spider sense, has no idea that there's any danger because the Vulture's there. He can't hear him.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Because he doesn't use the spider
There's
sense.
no Spidey senses in this movie.
Yes, there
Well,
is.
I mean, there are, but they don't make it explicit.
Yeah, there's not like the screen getting weird.
Yeah.
or
But I
him
like that.
actually
I like
declaring.
that.
No, I do too.
Yeah.
So did I.
They did that in Civil War as well, where
Right.
he something was flying in from behind. He's like, "Oh no!" and he just ducks.
He just does it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. Like, it's really prevalent when he's on the ferry. He's using his Spidey sense.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? But man, I'm curious to know. You said you had one negative, like a suspension of disbelief at the very end of the
We
movie.
can talk about the airplane at the end. So the very last job that he tries to do involves him robbing Tony Stark's last moving plane from Stark Tower.
Yep.
Which has on it, I think, happy lists.
All of the MacGuffins.
Like all of them. Like all of the biggest and most important things that if somebody got their hands
I guess
on,
they
And
would-
there's
the
no-
world ends.
Yeah, I don't think it would really
And there's
be a MacGuffin.
nobody in the plane?
Yeah.
Like I get
Or an
Tony that you
escort.
I get that you trust your technology, but that was a little like I'm going, oh, there's no way there's no more levels of protection than just some cloaking device that doesn't actually really cloak the plane either.
How about any one of the iron suits, your Iron Man suits that's totally unmanned that you just have Friday operating?
just have 30 Iron Man suits flying alongside of it or
Yeah.
something. Like
I
to have
agree.
all
Or
that
in
stuff in there.
just hanging out inside of it, just waiting.
Or that there wouldn't be something even low tech enough that would be able to discover. I think they gave some reason that they wouldn't have known he was there. Some sort of nonsense about he was in the flight stream. So come on, there would be, even if nobody's on the plane, he's going to have some technology that knows if something lands on his plane. Like
Yeah.
You would
it's
hope.
just.
You would hope.
Those kind of things at the end, I was having trouble forgetting about those things. I was
Yeah.
distracted by those things because I just don't see Stark letting that happen.
Yeah.
Like there's no way Stark lets that happen.
I'm glad that's your suspension of disbelief.
Why? What did you think it was?
I thought your suspension of disbelief was Tom or Peter Parker lifting that thing off of his back.
No, and
No, I
wanna
love
talk,
that.
Because
I want to talk
he
about
is that strong.
I
yeah,
want to talk about that.
but
Yeah.
he's figuring out he's that strong, and that's
That.
what I loved about it.
That.
Yeah.
Okay, so last night after the movie, we were standing around outside talking about it, as you do. And two of the guys that were with us was like, no, I'm totally not down with this. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because it should just be a go thing and it just happens. And I'm like, yeah, but this is all really early on for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's still coming into his powers. He's still
That's what the whole
figuring
movie's
things
about.
out. Exactly. So here he is. He's underneath there and he's weeping. He's not crying. He's weeping.
Yeah,
he is
so good.
trapped.
That was
So good.
powerful scene.
He's got
man.
his hand held up. He's like, I'm down here. He's like, save me. And he's in his own head. And I don't know about you guys, but I've experienced a panic attack before, right? And,
That's a
and
panic attack.
You've got nothing. You've got
Right.
like you in your head. You might be like, I can do this thing, but at that moment, you're nothing.
Yeah.
And he's trapped, and he's alone, and he's scared, and he's not strong. And then all of a sudden, he's weeping, and he looks down, and he catches a glimpse of himself, and he's like, "Come on, Peter!" And then he stops saying, "Come on, Peter," and he
Come on,
starts saying,
Spider-Man.
"Come on, Spider-Man!"
Yeah.
And he hoists that thing up. Yeah, I was like,
No,
that
that was good.
This is on it. This is on it.
No,
I think that scene. Well, go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
No, I was just saying. That wasn't my suspension of disbelief problem.
I say that scene in particular is probably the most prevalent scene to remind everybody this is a kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kids can get scared. Kids need help every now and then.
They have to mature. They have to
Yeah.
understand who they are. And we're all still working on that. Even
Yep.
as non-kids, we're all still
Yep.
trying to figure out who we are and where our strengths are and all that stuff.
Yep.
I know it was evident because of, the dialogue that was, "Come on, Peter Parker, come on, hi, Spider-Man." That was him becoming Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He wasn't Spider-Man before that. Whenever we saw him in Civil War,
No, he was
That-
just in a Spider-Man suit.
that was just a Spider-Man suit.
and
Yeah.
they make
This-
that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He is moving forward.
Surprisingly, it reminds me of an episode of Batman that I watched, a cartoon series of Batman where supposedly he thinks he's going insane, and there's a voice talking to him inside his head where he's talking to him, and he's telling him, "Well, Bruce, you're like this. Hey, Bruce, you're like this." And then at the end of the episode, they're like, "Well, how did you know that it was somebody else talking to you?" He's like, "Because I refer to myself as Batman in my head." He doesn't identify as Bruce Wayne anymore.
Yeah.
He is Batman.
Oh, that's cool.
That's kind of what this is for me, because he's talking to himself and he's Peter this and everything, and he there's a separation there. They do the same thing whenever they're talking about Liz. Whenever she's got a crush on Spider-Man, and his buddy's like, "Hey," and as we were going, "Come on, man, she's got a crush on you." And and then later on, there comes that moment where it's like, how weird is it to be famous in your own school and no one knows it's you? It's this whole identity thing, and I loved everything about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about his buddy Ned.
Yeah. Good old guy in the chair.
That scene where, it's just the montage of them like following the tracker, and then at the very end he has the Spider-Man mask on.
Yep.
So great.
You gotta love that
I was
character.
about to say, tell me you would. There's no way you wouldn't do that either.
No,
if Aaron was Spider-Man and you found out,
I'd wear the mask.
you would wear the mask.
Yeah.
I'd let you.
Thanks.
That scene where this is another surprise in the movie that worked for me. When he's in the room, when Spider-Man comes back in, and he doesn't know it, and then he's like, "You're Spider-Man."
That was the trailer.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
You were on the ceiling.
That was in the trailer?
Yeah. That's in the trailer.
I get so mad at trailers. See, I continue to be glad I don't watch trailers, because
Yeah.
that moment for me in the movie was so great.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a surprise, and I was like, oh, that's such a great reveal. But yeah, he's like, "You're walking on the ceiling." It's so awesome.
I'm the guy in the chair. I'm the guy in the chair.
Come on, let me be the guy in the chair.
Yeah.
I just want to be the guy in the chair.
The moment when he's on the rooftop and the people down on the street that are selling like hot dogs or whatever are like, "Yeah, that's Spider-Man from YouTube.
Yeah.
Do a backflip." Because no one knows him.
Yeah.
Everything that is Spider-Man out there right now is just YouTube videos or some of the things that he's done. He stops a guy stealing a bike and he's like, "I don't know who this belongs to, so I'm gonna leave a note."
Yeah. I actually did not mind the Stan Lee cameo in this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I like that.
They always annoy me now just because they feel forced, but
Not me. This one actually kind of worked. Cranky old man leaning out the window. "Be quiet down there, you."
yeah, but then they had to add something with him,
Talking with his
Flirting.
neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyways.
I was okay with it. Speaking of reveals, so Aunt May knows he's Spider-Man now?
So what?
At
Say-
the very end of the movie, Aunt May knows that he's Spider-Man
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Kind of looked that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me...
This movie kind of pulled a Martian in some ways. It had like
The F-bomb?
3 F-bombs that weren't actual F-bombs.
What, the F-bomb?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one that was cut off at the end. The F, marry, or kill. They did that as well. And so it was interesting in that way. I did notice that.
By the
But
way-
yeah, she knows now.
By the way, young lady on the bleachers, good luck killing the Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Easter eggs, in his classroom, did you guys see Bruce Banner?
No.
No.
So, he's sitting in the classroom. They're always answering the questions and stuff.
Yeah.
If you look at the top row, like above the chalkboard, they have like Einstein and
Oh,
Tesla, like framed pictures.
Oh,
At the
and
very
Banner's
end
one of them?
is Banner.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I love that.
Yeah, I love the Captain America stuff in
Oh
here.
my, that was
I
so
thought-
funny.
When you were saying there was a character that appeared too much, I thought you were talking about the Captain America
No, I'm
stuff.
talking
I
about
realized
Tony.
you're talking about Iron Man now.
Yeah.
But man, that Captain America stuff was great, and possibly the best post-credit scene.
Yeah,
Since
oh
the,
my-
since the
You've been waiting so long.
since the shawarma scene.
They straight up trolled us.
Oh, it was so good.
Marvel trolled us hard.
And it was great.
Yeah, it was. I was laughing the whole time.
You've been waiting so long, hoping for something, and then
How many
just
more?
disappointment.
How many more of these we got?
How many?
So perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great. And there are also these little moments that I love too, stuff like that, where the movie just is willing to play with itself in some ways
Well,
and
it-
play with, like, for instance, Spider-Man being in the suburbs.
Yeah.
And he walks out and goes and shoots his web slinger, but there's no buildings around.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Oh, I gotta run."
He's on the golf course.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
running through the golf.
This sucks.
It's so good.
The moment where they do the video clip with Captain America, and the coach is like, "Pretty sure he's a war criminal now. I don't know why. I still got to show you
Oh, that's what's his name? The comedian
I forget his name, but yeah,
Burgess, is it?
could be.
Yeah.
I still think that it was really funny watching
Yeah.
that.
He's a
Well,
war
and also-
I'm pretty sure he's a war criminal now. 'cause,
Captain America directs, to the right, and he's standing to
He's
the
standing
to
left.
the
left, yeah.
It's funny stuff.
Gotta love, man. That's
I
great.
kind of liked who they picked for Flash Thompson. I was
Okay,
on
I
point
was
with
going to
that.
ask you this. This comes from a non-comic book character guy.
Yeah.
I had to assume coming out of the movie that there actually is a character named Flash.
Oh, yeah.
Flash
in the
Thompson.
Spider, because I'm like, there's no way you would pick that name and risk the confusion of the DC Flash. Because I guarantee you there are people who think that's the Flash from the DC universe.
So, historically speaking, for the comic books, Flash Thompson he's in love with Spider-Man. Like, he's the biggest Spider-Man apologist, traditionally speaking. But he hates Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So that
He
was
is
accurate
Peter
to
Parker's
the
bully.
movie, yeah.
Because there was a Flash character in the Sam Raimi. Joe Manganiello actually played Flash in that.
See, I'd forgotten that.
I don't know if there was a Flash in the Amazing Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield one.
There was not.
Okay,
But I
so-
recall.
So,
I'm guessing 70% of people think that's the same Flash from the CW
I
show.
hope not.
I hope not.
I
hope
guarantee you. Because I'm just telling you, it's such a unique name. You're in a superhero universe.
I really hope not. I was honestly hoping for, because Andrew, I believe you're the one that had mentioned it to me at one point, where we had been discussing, and there was talk that potentially there was going to be a character named Miles or Miles Morales.
Miles Morales, and
I was
everybody thought,
really hoping that was going to be a thing.
Because-
is that Donald Glover's character?
no.
Okay.
Okay, it's weird because in the comics, Miles Morales is based off of Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Like they took his facial characteristics and they made Miles Morales, and then they put Donald Glover in the movie, but he's not Miles Morales.
And you're sure he's not? They're not setting that up?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah. he's
Okay.
not. Miles Morales, if you don't know, Miles Morales is the current iteration of Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just wondered if they were setting up like that person could become Miles Morales and become Spider-Man later.
No, maybe.
I loved his appearance.
Yeah.
I love Donald Glover. I think he's great.
What I'm thinking is, because in the movie, Donald Glover's character says, "I have a nephew that lives in this neighborhood." I'm thinking the nephew might be Miles Morales.
Okay.
Yeah. And well, with I did like that scene where he ends up shooting the webbing on his arm on the trunk of the car.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
thought that was a great
It
scene.
was hilarious. As you deserve this.
Yeah,
Bye, bad guy, Mr. Criminal. No,
that'll dissolve in 2 hours.
2 hours, and that's also pretty traditional for webbing to dissolve for Spider-Man, and that's been pretty consistent throughout the other movies,
Now,
as
my-
well as within the TV show and comic books.
My wife was asking about biological web shooters versus mechanical web shooters,
And
which I know has been a thing.
Mainly in the comics, he has the mechanical one.
That's what I thought.
To a degree. So Spider-Man's body undergoes several different changes as he continues to mutate a little bit. Heck, at one point in time, he ends up having 6 arms. That's a thing. In Spider-Man 2099, whenever my favorite time frame, whenever I'm reading those, they talk about the mutations that are continued to pass along to his future generations. Instead of having the ability to just adhere to the walls because of the little fibers, kind of like what we saw with the Tobey Maguire movies, he actually has retractable talons that he can actually scrape steel with. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And he actually has fangs, and he can inject venom into people. And
Scary.
Yeah, it's super awesome. He's a giant spider. But with this, he's using the web shooters. And when you're watching like the old school cartoons and early on, comic books, he has web shooters. And that's why in a lot of fights, whenever he's battling against villains, sometimes they'll get him by the wrist and they'll crush his web shooters.
Right.
And he's used cartridges, his web cartridges, and thrown them at them and used them as, basically bombs, like the web bombs that he used in this movie. It's similar to that as well. But the way they've explained it is that when he was bitten, he kind of inherently gained the knowledge on how to make webbing.
Oh, interesting.
So it's part of the DNA. It's one of those natural things that spiders are able to do. So he's able to kind of piece that together, but he doesn't have any of the secretion glands. He can't do it himself. So that's why he has to manufacture it. And then he uses that as his propulsion device. But then later on, there are forms where he himself is able to just do it. That's part of, like I said, the mutation. But that's kind of hit and miss. It depends on what it is you're reading.
Wow. Yeah, there's so much to know. I will say the one cameo that they set up a little clunkily for me and also delivered on it clunkily was the MJ cameo.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like that. There was something about the way. I mean, we all knew she was somebody, if not MJ. And then my friends call me MJ. It just was a little bit. It was a little bit clunky for me
because her name was Michelle, not Mary.
Right.
Yeah. So
Well, and that's what I'm saying. They were trying to pull a little switcheroo on
Yeah.
you and make
Yeah.
you not, but it just didn't work for me totally.
No,
I mean, I
right
like
there
that
with you.
character. I like her.
She was
I thought
funny.
she
Oh,
was
yeah.
great, but I just didn't like the reveal
I
of
could
that.
have done without that. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just leave it. Let people
Just
think
give
about it.
Just give it to him.
Well-
Like, that's just MJ.
Well, either you can do that from the beginning, or what I'm saying is don't have the "my friends call me MJ" line. Let people think about it. Let them say, "Well, who was that Michelle?" You know,
Yeah.
she's always somebody important. You know,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Somebody at a distance be like, "Hey, Watson," you know.
So I said earlier that the movie was oversaturated with characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So much that they had 2 shockers in this movie.
Yeah, they did. Dude, Shocker, I love the fact it had Shocker in it. I
Shocker
love the design
Shocker
of his,
is probably one of my favorite Spider-Man villains.
I love the design of his outfit in this because it spoke true to what it is that I remember from Shocker.
I just remember the yellow netting.
The yellow netting down his arms for insulation against the electricity.
Yeah.
Totally didn't know that was a real
That is
thing.
an actual dude.
See, I didn't.
I think Shocker's one of the coolest characters.
See, this
Yes.
stuff to me, I'm telling you, this stuff to me a lot of times is like when in Lego Batman they go through the list of all those, including like Condiment King, and all
Condiment
those,
King.
and then they go, Google it, they're all real or whatever.
Probably worth the good.
Probably
Worth the Google. That's how I feel about all this stuff. I'm like, what? Shocker's a real thing? Like,
Shocker is a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
it's amazing.
Besides Venom and Carnage, I think Shocker is my favorite Spider-Man villain.
Is the guy that had the big?
That's Shocker traditionally.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has the
Full
yellow
gear.
mask, and he has netting all around his body that if you touch him, you get electrocuted.
Yeah, it's
Was-
protective against it for
yeah,
him.
he's insulated. Yeah.
Does
Who
anybody
was-
know who the villain or that?
at the very end with the eye? And
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Nope, he's. I don't know who that is. Do you? I think
Is he
it's
supposed
just
to be
a guy.
setting somebody up?
I can't place him. I know.
I know the actor from Better Call Saul,
Right.
and some other things, but I didn't know if they were trying to set that up as another Spider-Man villain. I'm guessing they are. I just didn't know who it was supposed to be. But then again, I'm not necessarily all that familiar with stuff.
Right.
Anything else you guys wanted to spoil on this? I
Yeah.
know there's a lot. We obviously don't have time
mentioned-
to talk about everything. But
I mentioned that Spider-Man's a genius,
yeah.
but he does a thing that I think is just kind of a dumb 15-year-old kid thing to do.
Uh-huh.
So there comes the moment whenever he sees the arms deal going on. He's at the party. He
Right.
sees the
Yeah,
distant
yeah.
blast, and he goes there, and he confronts the guys, and they take off. When they take off, he manages to knock their weapon out of their hands from the back of the truck, and it falls off into the grass, right? They get away. He goes back. He finds the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next day, he's in school, and he's trying to take it apart. Now, we discussed this at nauseum last night, and the 4 of us that were standing around discussing it, we were arguing pretty heavy about this. Here's Peter Parker, the genius, trying to disassemble this thing in order to get to that little glowy rock.
Yeah.
And he starts striking it with a hammer. Okay. Now, I'm of the opinion that, he's under pressure. He's 15.
Right.
He's trying to
He
get
could
quick.
figure it out. He's just too immature to take the time to
And
figure it out.
that's the argument that I had for it it shows more of him being a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's just frustrated and trying to get answers. He's trying to get in there. He's looking at it and going, this is obviously human tech with alien tech,
Yeah.
and I need to smash off all of the stuff. And of course, the other 2 that are with us is going, you don't know anything about the thing. Why would you ever hit it with a hammer? And I'm like, because it speaks to him being a child.
Yeah, if he stopped and thought about it, he'd figure it out. But he's just, he's being impulsive. He's being immature.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
That's kind of where I was at with that whole point. But yeah,
Sure.
I looked at it and I was like, yeah, maybe you got something there where you're looking at this thing and you're going, yeah, don't hit something you don't understand with a hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just looked it up. Michael Mando's character is Mac Gargan.
Oh, okay.
He's Scorpion.
Yeah.
Okay, Scorpion.
Oh, and actually,
That's
he's
why
Venom after that.
That's why the tattoo makes sense then.
Yeah, he's
Because
Scorpion.
he's got a scorpion tattoo.
And then after Scorpion, he becomes the next Venom afterwards.
Which is supposed to be Tom Hardy
Yeah.
in a different movie.
Yeah.
Which is Eddie Brock.
Well, there's a couple of people who play Venom.
Yeah.
Eddie Brock and then Mac.
All right, before we go on to Baby Driver, I did want to touch on Too Much Iron Man. Explain to me why you feel like there's too much of him.
Because
I think a lot of people feel this way.
Yeah,
So
I think
I'm
I
in
understand the
minority.
fact that he's made Tony Stark his surrogate dad.
Right.
Because I want to talk about this real quick. No origin story in this movie. Thank you. I don't have to see Uncle Ben, any of that kind of stuff right now.
Don't
It's
even
all on
mention
the
Uncle Ben in this one.
No. I love the fact that they didn't even do
dance
that.
around it.
They dance
Little
around
bit,
it, yeah.
little
But
bit.
enough to where I'm like, thank you for doing that. They kind of talk about it with Ned. He's doing the montage.
Right.
So what? I was bit by a spider. Can I get bit by a spider? Spider's dead. You know, all that kind of stuff. But I love the fact in this, he made Tony Stark his surrogate dad. But the problem I have is that he keeps showing up to where he's using Tony Stark as a crutch too much. Not like for physical needs, but for reasons of why he's doing what he's doing. He keeps mentioning Tony Stark and he wants to become an Avenger. Not that he wants to help people. He realizes by the end of the movie he just wants to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which I do want to mention again. The suit at the very end of the movie is great. I love the suit that he makes for him at the end. He doesn't wear, but I love that new suit, and I hope that they keep that suit design because that's
Was
nice...
Spider-Man ever in the Avengers in the comic books?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely.
But wow. What was? Oh, Tony Stark. Yeah, so I think that they just overused it. You know, like Tony keeps showing up. He doesn't.
He's micromanaging.
He's micromanaging. He doesn't let Peter Parker make a mistake to learn from on his own.
I see. I didn't feel that way at all. I felt like he showed up when he had to. Like he didn't want to show up. Like when he sent the suit the first time, you know, it was because he had to save his life or whatever. And then when he showed up the second time at the ferry boat.
And I think that should have been the first time we see him.
See,
besides like the montage at the beginning.
So okay. So my hang up with this is, so he wants him to learn. He wants him to grow and learn
Right.
and all of these things. But
more than that, he knows he's not ready.
right. And the problem that I'm running into and watching this is, here's Spider-Man, here's Peter Parker calling Happy on a regular basis, going, "Hey, I've got information, I've got news," and he feels like no one's listening to him.
Right.
And as a result, he starts kind of acting out to a degree. It's not really acting out. He's just like, fine, you're not going to listen to me. I'm going to handle this stuff myself because I have the means of doing it. And then he goes well out of his way. I think that if there would have been better communication there, then perhaps it would have been handled differently. If he would have known that the FBI was going to be on the boat, then maybe he wouldn't have shown up the way he did. You know what I mean?
Right.
Furthermore, that's not how you fix a boat on the water because, let's just throw physics out the window.
Yeah, that boat was still sinking.
Yeah. You aren't saving that boat by welding it back together.
No, that boat was toast. All right.
Yeah.
So,
That's not how water works.
that's not how water works. Let's just ignore buoyancy, just whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that if Tony or even his suit hadn't saved Peter after
We'd have had
Vulture dropped him,
a tragic hero death
no,
drowning in a lake.
he could have made it to shore, and then Happy would have been the one to call him, say, "Hey, what's going on?" And then the first time we see Tony, besides that beginning montage, is when he saves him at the boat. That would have been perfect. I think they overused Tony by one scene.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad then.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I didn't feel it the same way you felt it, but I can see that observation. All that Marvel stuff, man, I love that it's happening in the same universe.
I guess I
love it too. Don't get me
I
wrong.
guess I do have one parenting question for you.
Sure.
So there's that moment when Aunt May confronts him at home, and she's like, "I know you left the hotel. I know you sneak out of here.
Right,
at
yeah,
night.
yeah.
What's going on with you? Would you drop the ball on that conversation? Because you said you had a kid of similar age, but if
I've got 4 teenage boys, so I know all about the teenage boy thing.
You figure out that one of your boys has got a bunch on their plate, they're stressed out,
right?
Then you find out they've been sneaking out in the middle of the night and they've been ditching class and they've been doing all this stuff. They're like, "Oh, I messed this thing up," and that becomes the end of the conversation. How do you parent that? Would you parent that the way she did? Because I felt like that was...
Well, in fairness, we only see the one conversation.
Right.
There may have been other conversations as well.
Yeah.
There is something to be said for hands-off parenting, especially as kids get older and, letting them make some mistakes, those kind of things. But I would take far too seriously my responsibility to protect my children.
Yeah.
To not address danger issues and to address them severely.
See, that was my argument as well, because whenever I'm sitting here and we were having this discussion about that particular scene, I'm like, look, your kid comes to you and they're obviously distraught. He's a 15-year-old. He's got all of the activities that you're listing off and the internship, because this is from her perspective. You got the internship, all of the programs at school, going to school, the death of his uncle, the death of his parents whenever he was younger. He's got all of these things on his plate. And so whenever he starts doing these things and you confront them, I was like, yeah, no, I think that that's exactly right. And they, for the other two that were with me, they're like, no, it totally took me out of that moment because I feel like she just ignored the thing. And I'm like, well, you don't know how the conversation went after that. She went into supportive mode and was like, yeah, no,
that conversation didn't read false to me at all.
I felt like it was completely natural and it was exactly what I would do.
Right.
Or hope to do if I ever find myself in a situation like that.
Yeah.
Clearly she trusts him, because she doesn't go straight to, well, what kind of drugs are you using or what are you doing?
Right.
She's just like, what's going on with you? So she trusts him.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't read incorrectly to me. I just assumed there was, more to their relationship that we didn't see or more conversations that happened.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anything else before we move on to Baby Driver?
No.
I'm good.
All right.
I highly recommend it.
Baby Driver. What do we want to spoil in this case?
Well, we can start off with the fact that his mom and his dad, I guess he didn't care for his dad at all. Because he only talks about his mom. And his dad seemed to be abusive in all the flashbacks.
That seems to be what that was.
Yeah, the movie is indicating that his dad was not a good person.
And that's probably why you're seeing such a downplay, a disconnect between him and the dad. Because it's like mom was this shining light, this angel of his youth. And
I mean, that's the story he tells himself as a child. We don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of that story, but we know enough to know this is what he believes in, what's informing him in his life. And it seems to be a positive thing to focus on his mom and the beauty of her voice.
And for all we know, mom is just as bad as dad was, but we don't know that information. We just know from his perspective. And his perspective is mom is this singing angel, and dad was this mean person who ultimately caused this car crash that took the both of them from me. And he probably blames dad for it.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions I want to ask you guys about this movie.
Yeah, well, I've seen it 3 times, so ask away.
First time you saw it,
when
did you realize that the lyrics to the song, the coffee song, were on the walls and
First time.
Well, I mean, but like when in that song?
Like the first 2 words, I started picking it up like immediately.
Same with you?
Oh, so it was the second. I just try and take in everything the first time I watch it, and then the second time I watch it, that's when I try and find like Easter eggs and stuff. So, yeah.
The first time, as I'm going through, song lyrics are something that really stand out to me. That's why whenever I'm talking to people, I'm like, "Did you hear that?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "In the song, this is what they said." And they're like, "They really said that?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, there's a guy at work that doesn't know the song lyrics to the song "Paradise by the Dashboard Light" by Meatloaf, and I'm like, "This is what it's saying." He's like, "Really?"
Yeah,
like, yeah.
No, I'm a lyric guy too.
Like, you definitely. So whenever I'm watching this movie, as I'm listening to it, I'm actually kind of seeing this in my head, and then I start visually seeing it on the screen. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is right here! This is so cool."
I thought it was brilliant, and I thought that that moment I had when I realized it, which I think was pretty early on in the song, which would surprise me actually if you didn't realize it, too late.
It's an Edgar Wright sort of thing to do,
right? But that moment again is one of those like adrenaline moments where it's like, oh, this is just such a cool idea,
Yep.
And you don't have to live in a real world to do it. Like I can suspend that disbelief because we're in this kind of musical fantasy world, So I really liked that. In moments like that happen throughout the movie, gunshots that match up with beats, that kind of stuff.
I think the song that really did it for me was Radar Love, right there at the end, where he takes the old woman's car and he's flipping through the channels real quick, trying to find
He has to
something.
find a song,
and then he finds that, and he's racing to get to her. I was all on board for that.
For me, the highlight of the movie is still the beginning of the Bell Bottoms, Bell Bottoms song and that heist. It
so
is
good.
The best heist. Yeah.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And seeing things in that I've never seen before. The idea of finding 2 similar cars and then pulling like a 3-car Monte under the bridge. Like, it's so brilliant. I mean, you could never do that.
Forcing
but it's
the
still
car,
brilliant.
Forcing one of those cars into the other lane.
Yeah.
Those 2 other drivers are going to have a bad day when the police catch up with them.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to pull them out of the car at gunpoint, and they're going to be like, well, I don't know. Guy cut me off. I don't know.
So many moments like that during the movie.
Oh, yeah. Tequila is another great moment in that movie.
The red car overhead scene where it's from the helicopter point of view looking down, that's in the trailers.
Is it?
It is. It's in the trailers. But whenever I watched it in the trailers, I thought this was part of their getaway plan to begin with. Right? And he just kind of happens across it. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They're using this as means of getting away. And this was all worked out in advance, and when in fact that's not the case.
So next place my mind went, I'm just going to jump around. I hope you guys don't mind. Like I just want to talk about stuff. So the next place my mind went was the idea of consequences. And I talked about this a little bit, but he actually goes to jail. Yep. He serves 5 years and then gets out on parole because apparently he's doing a great job being a good kid. That idea of serving time, paying your consequences is not something we see in a lot of these movies. And I really appreciated that. And they set it up, like I said, through the whole movie. The fact that his foster dad talks right from the beginning about, I really wish you wouldn't be doing this stuff. In the fact that...
he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, and it sets up his... I mean, he does have a choice. You always have a choice.
To a degree.
Death is a choice. You could choose death over, over, you know what, or the death of somebody you love over the death of somebody you don't know. Like, these are choices you could make. And I think there's a moral argument to be made for them at some point.
I think you're going for a technicality there.
That is definitely a rock and a hard place.
Absolutely. There's the, I don't know why my mind's going to this, but the train, what do they call it?
The train scenario where you've got a train full of people and tracks that are going to lead them off of a broken bridge or
run over 5 people on the tracks.
Yeah. But you have to pull the lever to kill 5 people instead of 50.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like those kind of moral quandaries. I understand they exist. What I'm saying is there are consequences to all the choices we make, whether we like it or not. And this movie deals with that. I think in a really beautiful way all throughout the movie. So there are moments they set up like with the fact of, the first Jamie Foxx job where he sees that somebody has been killed. And like he has to process that and deal with that and really think about the fact that his choices are taking part in something where innocent lives are being lost. And the movie doesn't shirk away from that. Yeah. I kind of like that.
I loved it. I liked the moment with Buddy. It's Buddy.
John Hamm's
character, Buddy, where he's telling him, what next time he calls, don't answer. And like he's looking out for him. I have to admit that John Hamm turning into like the bad guy.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming at all.
Me neither.
The whole time I was on board with it being Jamie Foxx. Like I was like,
no, not me.
For me, that's who it was. I was like, that is going to be our guy. And even if he ends up being like the minor boss and Kevin Spacey ends up being the boss.
That's what I thought.
Like that's like your video game tier. He's going to be like your sub henchman that's just before. I did not expect it to be John Hamm at all. That came out of left field for me.
I
totally agree.
I think it's an interesting story move. And that as a story move in taking the expected friend and turning them into the enemy and the expected enemy and turning them into the friend, that's really interesting.
Yep.
My problem is, and this goes to, maybe this is where we can go to my big problem with the end of the movie, or I talk about motivations.
Kevin Spacey.
It works for John Hamm.
Yeah.
I get the motivation for him. I get why he turns.
Well, he's in love. John Hamm's character is in love. He's got this chick. Everything's good.
Yeah, passion rage. Yeah. Totally. I get it. I don't get the Kevin Spacey change.
Yes.
It seems very undermotivated.
Yes.
And it seems like they could have, if they're going to go there, find a way to set it up better. Maybe they think that would give away the surprise that they wanted, that he was going to be like, that's okay. You lovebirds go do what you need to do. I'm going to give my life so you lovebirds can escape.
It was just weird.
And it's weird coming from the guy who was like, I'm going to kill everybody you love if you don't do one more job for me.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I totally do.
Because he's standing there and he's like, I was in love once. They summed it up into one line, but you don't really have any other framework around it.
It's just not enough.
Yeah.
And then the other motivation that's difficult for me also happens at the end, and it's, why does Baby say, let's pull one more job? He gives Baby an out.
He does and he doesn't.
How does
I
he
know why?
How does he not?
The previous scene where it's at the end of the movie, or at the end of the diner scene where they're at, or the dinner scene where he and his girl are out having a fancy dinner, and Kevin Spacey's character buys them dinner.
Right.
He's like, you don't say no to me.
Right.
And so there comes this moment again where he has the opportunity of saying no
That's
to him.
That's not what I got.
But Kevin Spacey isn't telling him to. Kevin Spacey's saying the choice is yours. Right. And what we know about Spacey so far is he's a man of his word.
True.
So I don't know.
Then the other side of it is Jamie Foxx.
That's where it is.
That's exactly where it is, because Jamie Foxx is all on board with taking this,
this Baby
job.
says no.
And
Fox
Baby
is
says no. Then sure, Kevin Spacey goes, fine. You said no. I back your play. These two, sure, because they're kind of on board with it, but they were also on the fence. But Jamie Foxx's character is like, you've got a guy for this. We can still pull this job off. He is still guns a-blazing. And we already know how volatile it is.
So you think he's making the decision because he knows if he doesn't, Jamie Foxx is going to kill him?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No, not only him. He'll kill Deborah.
Absolutely.
He'll kill
because-
Deborah first, and then he'll kill Baby.
Even though he doesn't know anything at that moment, he doesn't know anything about Deborah.
No, he does.
Well, they crossed paths with her, but he doesn't know that there's anything between the two of them, short of Baby stepping up and being like,
when was that
don't shoot
reveal?
her.
Because he knows eventually. When
He knows
because
he knows after it's the meaning. Okay, so they go. That's my hang up, and this is earlier I said that there's a commonality, a story thing
Yeah, go
between
ahead.
both movies. They're driving along, and they just happen to drive past the diner she works at. It's a little coincidental.
Yeah, it's plot convenient.
Super plot convenient. In Spider-Man, they kind of do the same thing, where it's that moment where suddenly it's his daughter, and to me it's kind of the same turn, right? Where it's just convenient for the plot's purpose.
I don't think the Spider-Man one is as much plot
That's a
convenience.
twist.
I think
not.
that's a real story twist.
Right, but to me, it was a little.
I mean, it's a little hard to believe.
It took a little wind.
Sure,
It took a little wind out of me.
Yeah.
I still kept momentum with it, but it took a little wind out of me.
It seems a little coincidental.
With this, as they're driving along, it's the one place lit up in the darkness, and he's
Right.
hungry, and he wants to go there, and he's like, no, and there's that argument, and then they go. And that's the moment that I was referring to earlier whenever they walk inside, where she looks kind of worn from the day. She looks tired and all that good stuff. But when he walks in, she like straightens up and perks up and becomes lively. And then he just kind of gives her this look, and there's no words, but she knows that there's a problem.
Right.
And so she doesn't approach him talking like she knows him. And during that whole exchange, Jamie Foxx goes to kill her.
Yeah.
And he stands up and he stops him. But I don't think that gave it away. I think at that moment in Jamie Foxx's mind, or at least his character's mind, Bats.
Yeah.
Bats in that moment he's already been pushing the envelope. He's been just killing people. He killed all of the police officers that were trying to sell him the guns. He did all of these things. And here's Baby jumping up in the middle of all of this going, no more. And so I don't think he took that as, he's protecting Deborah specifically. He just took that as, all right, I've killed enough people tonight. But then later, once they get to their lair and they toss out all of the tapes, and they get to the one where they're listening to Deborah's audio, and they actually say Deborah, the chick that's in there, the other girl, she's like, hey, isn't Deborah the name of that waitress? And at that moment, it clicks for everybody in the room that it's her. But that didn't happen until after what you're referring to, where they were having the discussion on whether or not they should actually do the job or not.
No. Okay, so this is what I
thought
have,
that
because
was
I've seen it a
reverse
couple.
order, but
So it does happen afterwards, because the
Does
first time he says, yes, let's do the job. Then they all go to bed, remember?
Yeah.
And he tries to sneak out.
yeah.
Then they bring him
Ransack
back.
his house.
Ransack his house, bring him
Yeah.
back the tape. They listen to the tape. Then Jamie Foxx realizes, oh, Deborah's the girl from the diner. At that point, Baby knows, okay, Bats knows who Deborah is now. If I say no, he's going to go kill her.
But he already
Well, sure,
he already said no, right?
That's
Isn't
what
you're-
I'm referring to. The moment where
that moment already happened.
that moment
before
where
they
they're-
went to bed.
Before they went to bed, where where Kevin Spacey's like, look,
No,
it's
it didn't.
on you. Yeah, it's on.
Well, the way you just explained it did.
Okay,
I-
because
Sure.
here, okay, let me explain it again. So the first time they go back to, because they go do the whole tequila scene.
Yeah,
Then they go to the diner.
yeah.
Then they
And at
go
that
back,
moment-
and Kevin Spacey's like, deal's off,
Right.
because you killed all my cops.
Right. At
And
that
then-
moment, Bats does not know that Deborah
Exactly.
is
and that's where he says no.
No,
That's what
Baby says, okay, let's do the, okay, so Kevin Spacey says, let's do the job then. So
Well, he says it's up to you, baby.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
up to you. And then Baby says, okay, let's do the job.
Right.
But he was lying, because then he tries to sneak out, because he tells Deborah, let's meet up at 2 a.m. and then we'll leave.
Right.
So he tells everybody, yeah, let's do the job, but he's lying. And then he tries to sneak away.
So what you're saying is it's not that you have to find some weird motivation for him to say yes, let's do the job. You're saying he was lying anyway.
Yeah.
So his motivation didn't matter.
Exactly.
Okay, I think I understand. what
he
you're saying.
says yes for a twofold reason. First off, he says yes because it puts everybody to bed, and he
Yes.
doesn't worry about Bats. Because
Yeah, I
Bats
can
will
buy
just
that.
straight
I
up
actually
kill
buy
him.
that completely.
Secondly, it also buys him the time that he needs in order to be able to get away.
To get away, exactly. But then John Hamm catches them in the,
But he's actually
Parking
letting
lot.
him go.
yeah.
He's like, look, if you're going to go, just go and don't come back. But
And then Jamie Foxx shows up.
But that's I think that's what I was trying to say is that at that moment where he's making the choice where he's like, this is your decision, at that moment he's faced with yes or no. And if he said no, two things were going to happen. He was going to leave, and he was going to go get her, and he was going to try to get away. But Jamie Foxx would become the threat still.
Yeah.
By saying yes, it takes away that threat for now and puts it off till later.
Gives him time.
And it gave him time.
No,
But
That's exactly it.
No, I can get that.
the way I took it from you a moment ago is that somehow magically Jamie Foxx's character just like knew that he would need to also go kill her.
No,
Because if he
no.
would have been like no and killed Baby, there would have been no reason to go back and kill the waitress.
No. The second time he says, let's do the job after they get the tapes and everything, that's past the point of no return.
Yeah.
Where he has to kill Jamie Foxx. And when he kills Jamie Foxx, whew,
Who thought the old man was dead whenever Bats comes rolling in on the wheelchair?
I was worried.
I was super worried.
His stepdad
His
laying on the
or
ground.
his foster dad.
Yeah,
whoever it was.
Yeah, foster dad.
foster dad.
I was.
I was worried.
I don't remember thinking about it too much. It could have gone either way. I wasn't, like.
Because he like snaps to and he's like, "What did you do?" And he comes rolling in on the wheelchair, and I'm like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
no! You killed a sweet old man. No, what's the matter with you, Bats? Other than being bat crazy."
And I think
Being a
they do that because
psychotic person.
they make you, because pretty much Bats is Anton Chigurh if Anton Chigurh loved to talk.
Yeah.
I'll just kill. I feel like killing. I'm going to go have murder for dinner.
And then Baby kills him, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's just insanity immediately.
As soon as they showed those crowbars, or not the crowbars, but
Rebar.
the rebar, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like-
I've seen Final Destination 3.
Exactly.
I know
I'm
what
like,
happens.
that's-
yeah, buddy,
But then that ensues the foot chase,
which is awesome.
which is great. 'cause
Yeah, that's such
he's-
a great chase.
He's doing parkour, but at the same time, he's not doing fancy stuff.
It's just such a lesson in geography. It's a lesson in how to shoot something where you understand where things are, where the threats are. A lot of time action directors forget how important it is for the geography of things to make sense. And it just makes sense. And so you never feel lost. You understand what's going on and what the importance is. So, yeah, I really like that.
I totally agree with you now that the one hang up at the movie is Kevin Spacey just having a 180 of heart.
It is there's just not a lot of motivation there. I'm not finding it, at least. So other than true love, which doesn't seem to be his gist.
True love. No,
Exactly.
so
Wow.
marriage.
I was in love once.
So there was a moment in it that kind of reminded me of John Wick 2. And that's in John Wick 2. There's that moment where he's facing off against the bad guy and he's in the hotel and he's like, a man could hide here forever, eating his
He
food.
just shoots him.
And he just straight up shoots him. That scene in the diner where Buddy's standing there and it's the editing, it's the camera angle because Buddy looks away and all of a sudden there's a pop and he's shot and I was like, oh my God, because I didn't expect Baby to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it at all. I was totally blindsided by it because he recognizes there's a cop outside, but he's also like, I'm fighting for what I love.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing. When Buddy's drawing down on the both of them, and she's looking at Buddy, and he's looking at Buddy, and he's like, "Do you love her?" And he's like, "I love her." And she's stops.
like, "Really?"
She stops looking at him and turns and looks at Baby. I was like, that's so warm. That's love right there. That's why I was all on board with this. It's like I think one of the first on-screen love.
No, the chemistry
stories.
was great. Again, I will say, and we can talk about this now because we haven't. It is very dude central, very dude perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about who you think the strong women in this movie are.
Darling.
Yeah, absolutely, Darling.
Darling is the female.
That's Buddy's.
How is she a
chick.
strong woman?
She is kicking butt.
Oh, that's different.
No,
that's
that is
different.
so not different.
No, that is totally different. I'm not talking about doing cool action stuff.
She's not meek. She's not cowardly. She is strong. She is.
But what is
just
she
because
about?
you're-
What
just
is her
because you're a
motivation?
villain-
Who is she?
Just because you're a villain doesn't mean you're not strong.
No. You're talking about a different thing than I am.
Okay, explain.
You're talking about somebody who is cool or is strong in the literal sense. Has like the strength of I'm going to stand up to people, and that I'm talking about a strong character. I'm talking about somebody who means something to the story other than just to be incentive for somebody else to go crazy. Like the women in this are just they're pieces that are put in a very dude centric story. Again, I'm saying this in a way that makes it sound like I hate the movie for this.
No.
And I actually don't. I actually think there's all different movies come from different perspectives. What I'm saying is if I were a female, I can see myself going, okay, where is my part in this story? Where is the female in this story that has something important to say or important to do?
I agree with Aaron. I have to. I know earlier it sounded like more along the lines that I was citing here, but I do agree with you on this, because most of the things, most of the actions, most of the motivations are all divisive to another thing.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are the actions of the men characters in the movie. I understand what you're saying, Andrew, that she is bold and confident, and she talks to whoever, however she wants to.
And even Deborah turns into that character by the end of the movie.
Well, there comes that moment where Bats goes inside the convenience store. He's like, "You want gum?" And he goes inside. And then while he's inside, she turns and looks at Buddy, and she's like, "Hey, you remember that guy that looked at me that way? Well, Bats looked at me that way."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You want me to kill Bats?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Well, after the job.
Yeah, afterwards. well, should we discuss this in front of baby? He won't say anything. It's fine. It's not a big deal. That, all of those things, and like you're saying, all she ends up being is a springboard for Buddy to go bananas. Right. Speaking of, I love the banana
so
scene.
your complaint,
I love the banana scene.
Your complaint is that some of the females in this movie were used as a plot device instead of being actual characters.
All of the females.
All of them.
Yeah, it is. I'm just saying.
I think that you can make an argument for Deborah, though, on that front, the front that you're talking about a strong female character, because she changes from one end. Like, her motivations don't change, but her actual persona changes.
Tell me about that. Tell me about how her persona changes.
I feel at the beginning of the movie, she's just, just a happy-go-lucky girl. She's like, oh, man, I'm just a little waitress at a diner. But at the end of this movie, she becomes strong. She fights to survive. She fights to protect what she loves.
What specifically are you talking about with the fighting for what she loves?
She's fighting Buddy.
She
by the end of this
actively
movie.
fights Buddy in the garage.
So, yeah, she is fighting Buddy not only to defend herself, but to protect Baby, who is on the ground because he is, got the shell shock. He has got the tinnitus and the shell shock now from having two guns, which at that point, that's okay. Maybe that could be my technical complaint about the movie. Why not just shoot Buddy or shoot Baby and get it over with instead of, blasting next to his ears?
He's torturing him.
Yeah, it's the whole torture
thing.
Him.
But that's a cliche villain thing to do.
Sure.
That...
You sly dog, you got me monologuing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
which, by the way, there is that moment in Spider-Man Homecoming where there's a reverse of that where he uses his monologue to I thought that was
cool,
great.
Yeah. You sly...
you got me monologue.
You got me monologue. I love that from the Incredibles. The Incredibles. Yeah. Love that.
So go ahead, Aaron.
I was just going to say, I understand what you're saying. I think it's important to be aware of, especially in, you talk about things like the Bechdel test or whatever, where a movie doesn't feature two women having a conversation that doesn't revolve around their men or something like that. Not a lot. No. Yeah. I think it's important for movies to be aware not only of gender stereotypes, gender issues, racial issues, all those kind of things. I do think it's important for movies to be aware of that. So that's why I bring it up. Not because it makes the movie an awful movie, but because it's important to go, you know what? Maybe the story and the characters could have been tweaked so that we had somebody who was, a female presence in this movie who was a strong character in a different way.
Perhaps, but also...
that wasn't defined by their relationship to a man.
True, but also, would that necessarily be something that is it lacking from the movie?
I can see some people saying, sure. As for me, it's not something I came away going, oh, I can't believe that they're,
I don't want you to think that that's what I thought you were saying.
Right. Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Now, there was somebody in your chat feed earlier that as we were going along, like I said, I was sitting over here and squinting reading it.
Yeah.
And one of them asked about Baby's development through the entirety of the movie. They were hoping that he actually showed some type of development through the movie. And I personally feel that he did. Because when we
it's a movie about him understanding what it means to make choices and have consequences.
Because you're 100% right in that regard. Prior to and there comes that moment with Kevin Spacey's character where he's like, that I never do the same job with the same group of people except you, and then he brings on Bats and things kind of start going really south really, really quick with him. But it seems to me that during the time that he's been working with him, there hasn't come that moment where he's kind of been sheltered from these things. But then there's some heavy foreshadowing where what's his name? Plays the Punisher. Yeah.
John
Bernthal.
Thank you.
I was thinking Tom Jane. I'm like, Tom Jane was in this movie?
No.
So, John Bernthal, yeah.
There comes that moment when he starts going on about how you're going to have to start dealing with some consequences. You're going to have blood on your hands.
Yeah.
You're going to be the one that does this. And it's very telling to what it is that's coming. And I mean, you know that.
Yep.
But by the end of the movie, you get to this moment where, he's like, I know what it is I want. I want out. I've paid my dues. I've done my job. I've done the thing. I'm done with all of you. I found someone I want to go and be, whatever else on down the road.
Yeah.
But I kind of wonder, looking at something like this, going, how far, because he's probably, 20s, 30s?
Who?
Baby.
Baby's 20, early 20s.
I'd say early 20s.
Think so?
Yeah.
So here you are, you're in your early 20s, and you've had this high adrenaline lifestyle, and then you go off into the wild blue yonder with some chick. At what point in time do you become bored and go back to it?
He could be a pizza driver like he was.
You think so?
Yeah.
Make people happy?
Well,
delivering pizza?
Yeah, I mean...
I had to jab Jareth in the ribs when that happened, by the way.
Yeah, because the whole pizza delivery thing.
Jareth used to deliver pizza. I'm like, you brought joy to people. You made them happy.
That's right. Yeah, I think he has to deal with those. Again, that diner scene and then the, I've had true love once scene. One of those two scenes has to disappear for the character of Kevin Spacey to make sense. Like, he cannot be the guy who watches them have a romantic dinner and then says, I will kill everyone you know if you don't do another job. And also be the guy that's like, I guess you are in love.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my life for you. Like,
and all
those
this
are
money,
so opposite.
And all this money.
Yeah.
And my car.
That's right.
And I'm going to take a round for you. By the way, I do appreciate...
A couple rounds.
I do thoroughly appreciate the fact that this movie recognizes that just because you get shot does not mean you're out of the fight.
Yeah.
Because just because you get shot does not mean you're out of the fight. It's not like one bullet and you just fly to the ground and you're dead.
Yeah.
Bananas.
The couple shots.
The combat in
getting
this,
run over a couple times, that might do it. But
yeah. The combat in this, the way they fight, the way the gunshots work, things of that nature, seemed very realistic. I really, really, really enjoyed this.
Yeah. I mean, other than the fact that they matched exactly to the beats of a song. But,
Yeah.
but that's what we love about it.
Magic.
That's magic.
That's
the magic of a musical.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for a great conversation.
I love
This
it.
has broken the record. This will definitely be the longest spoiler cast we've ever done.
No, I think we did a longer one a couple weeks ago.
You think we've done a longer Sif spoil than this?
I think we did a full hour-long Sif spoil.
I don't think we've ever crossed an hour on a Sif spoil before. I could be totally wrong.
Think so?
How long has this one been going? Do you have an idea?
I think this is over an hour.
You think so?
Yeah.
While he's looking that up, one last thing, I guess.
Yeah, do it, man.
Do you honestly think that Kevin Spacey's character wouldn't know about the dude in the truck that was at the bank whenever they're trying to...
I wanted to talk about this. I'm glad you brought this up. Was that ever resolved?
No.
What was that?
That was a do-gooder.
Was it
You
a
think
do-gooder?
that's just a do-gooder?
They even said so.
See, I thought they were setting it up for Kevin Spacey to have put him there so that because it was Baby's last job, he was going to take care of Baby. Like,
you think so?
Yeah, that he was going to get him arrested or something.
No, it said...
and then play the good guy, and because he knows all the cops, get him out and be like, now you owe me again.
Yeah.
No, it said a retired Marine on the back of the guy's truck.
Okay, well, I mean, that's fine, but I was confused about that.
Right?
I was confused about that.
No, that's just some do-gooder who was,
Just
crazy
happened
gun
to
happy.
be there?
Yeah.
See, and I took that as like...
But don't you like the idea that
I
Kevin
love that.
Spacey put him there?
I didn't even think of that. What I thought is it's like an undercover paid guard for the armored truck service that was also there as like off-duty security or something of that nature. That's the way I took it. But that is gold.
Well, that's what first came to my mind.
Oh my God, that is gold. That is wonderful. To put him back under leverage again would be...
I was looking for that. I was looking for where he was going to still have leverage over.
Yeah, that is much more on par with Kevin Spacey's character and who he is and how we see him behave. That makes so much more sense. Oh my goodness.
But I mean,
see,
if it's just a do-gooder, then it's, that's fine. I think that's the story they were going with, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was confused there for a second.
Oh my, you should get paid for that. That is a genius idea.
Well, there you go. I never mind ending a podcast with me being called a genius. That's fine with me.
You are a genius, Aaron.
Oh, thanks. Now I'm blushing. Catch us next week. We'll be spoiling War for the Planet of the Apes. So we'll tell you all about that big monkey action.
I wonder how that one ends.
I'm guessing with a war
Yeah.
for the planet with apes. That's just a guess. That's just a guess. That's just a guess.